proposals might Washington bring to this round of talks, and how likely is it for these to be accepted by Pyongyang?
I think, first of all, most important is that the DPRK, the point of view from Korea, was set out by the DPRK leader back in April. A very surprising speech where he actually came out with the idea that he said after the failure in Hanoi in February that he and his administration were going to give it until the end of the year to see what the US could come up with. And so we've had to wait until now in October really to see any progress. But I think both sides have to be prepared to come to the table with compromises. And I think from the DPRK point of view, it's not just the sanctions relief issue, which was highlighted in Hanoi, but overall, what the DPRK wants to see is the US building up confidence, measures that increase confidence between the two sides. This has come out in repeated DPRK statements as well as those summits in Hanoi and Singapore last year. And it's long been a very familiar tune from DPRK officials that they feel that without diplomatic relations with the United States and under sanctions, they expect or they can't ignore the idea that the US is trying to achieve regime change in the DPRK. So first of all, the DPRK wants to see the US building up confidence between Washington and Pyongyang. And then whether it's a question of sanctions relief, I think that the DPRK certainly wants to see that, although it is accepted that it won't be a full everything and all sanctions ended all at one time, but the DPRK would be very willing to do things in a step-by-step way. The problem is whether the US is going to still insist on a big deal, as in Hanoi, or whether the US would be willing to do things in a step-by-step way. So that could include all kinds of things, whether it is bringing in the IAEA to start monitoring at different sites inside the DPRK, which could be an important step forward from the US point of view. Alternatively, from the DPRK point of view, somehow signing a document which formally ends the Korean War, as well as looking for other ways where the DPRK and the US could move towards diplomatic relations. The idea of a liaison office in each other's capitals has long been talked about. But actually, apart from the main nuclear deadlock, there are a lot of other issues which both sides could use to try to bring each other closer together.